very busy time. There's the recording. So yeah, thank you again for being here. And your presence this evening is really appreciated. So as Alex mentioned, and as you just heard, this session is being recorded. So please just be aware of that. We are going to go through the Touch Union this evening. This session is really focused towards new clubs. It's information about the program and how it can be applied at your clubs with a focus on the club's perspective as well. So some quick introductions. Again, my name is Carolyn Flowers and I'm the Playing Formats Manager. You met Alex, who's our volunteer manager, and he will be helping me moderating the chat this evening. We have guest speakers this evening, so unfortunately Craig can't make it. However, we do have Granville, who is also from Bicester. And also on the chat, we have Simon Parsons from Tunbridge Wells, who will be opening up for to help answer some questions a bit later as well. So thank you all to everyone who could join us on the speaking side of things. So just to go over a bit of the agenda that we're going to go through this evening. Again, it's about Touch Union. So the first section that I'm going to be presenting will be all about what is the Touch Union, why offer the Touch Union, what is affiliation, at which point we'll be handing over to our guest speakers and making sure that we can get a lot of time in for questions, whether it be to myself or to our clubs. And just a quick note on that. So I'm looking to keep my portion quite top line, but informative, leaving the majority of time for our guest speakers and our questions, because once again, I would like this to be about the clubs and really making sure that we're tailoring this to you and how you can best use the Touch Union at your clubs. For anyone who's wondering, we'll be making the club guide, the brand guidelines and logos available after the session. So we'll be doing a follow-up email that will include either a link or the files themselves. So if you're wondering where you can get more information on those sides of things, we'll be sending it out later. Again, as Alex said, if you have any questions as we go along, please pop them in the chat. We are going to have time for questions, hopefully loads of time at the end. We're looking at about 45 minutes this evening, but obviously if there's lots more interaction and people asking things, we can always stretch it just a bit further if you'd like. So we're going to start off with a little bit of interaction. If Alex could please pop on first the polls. What we're looking to do here is really just get an idea of the non-contact environment and landscape that we have currently at our clubs with those who are on the calls, whether or not you're already using it, or if you're using non-contact in any way, really.
So yeah, that poll is with you now. So is your club currently playing or offering any non-contact rugby? I can see a lot of people. If you can't see it for any reason, the chat function is there to help you. So put your answer into that chat function there. So is your club currently playing or offering non-contact rugby? So I'll give you a final bit of time there to fill that in. And I'm going to end that poll now, and I'll share them results with you. So it's, slightly more no, 54%, but 46% are, and certainly, the ones who are doing it, we'd love to hear from your experiences as well there. So we've got some more polls to do. Shall I move straight on into the next one? And so I'm launching this next poll with you. So how are you looking to incorporate the Touch Union into your club? Is it a weekly Touch Union specific sessions? Is it, during training sessions that you're already running? Is it a bit of both, or is it other? And if it's other, we really would love to know, what you're aiming to do with it. And that will be very helpful for us afterwards. We will take the chat away. And I can see some people in the chat there. We use it in training, but not competitive. So said no. Okay. Yeah, Sagan's put in there an off-season offer. So it's clear what's coming out there. So please, put your answers in. If for any reason you can't see the poll, it's gone behind your screen and things, you let us know the details in the chat. How are you looking to incorporate the Touch Union into your club? Last few seconds to answer this one. Okay, I think we're there. And I'll end that poll now. And I'll share those results with you. So, a hell of a lot. 48% of people who completed it are looking to offer weekly sessions. Quite a lot 28%. It's both. It's touch union sessions plus training sessions. And then we've got quite a bit of other in there as well. So, we've got some things in the chat here, mainly off-season, special events, going to run through the summer, off-season, summer touch. Yeah, so we're getting some in there. So I'll stop sharing that one. We got one more poll just to run you through that we'd just love a bit of details on, so we get to know the people we've got with us this evening. So launching a final poll with you. Which of the club's key drivers needs would you hope offering a non-contact would help support? And you can answer more than one of these. So you can put retaining and developing players, you can put recruiting new players, you can put both of those things. And if it's other and you got other thoughts of how it's going to help your club, let us know the details in the chat. It'd be good to share that detail so everybody can learn from it. But on this one, you can choose more than one. If you think it's all of them, then please do put all of them down. But, have a think. Which of the club's key drivers, needs, would you hope offering non-contact would help support? If you can't see it for any reason, remember, the backup is that chat there. So, yeah, nice. I think we're pretty much there with people completing this one. And this is the final poll for this section. So I'll end it there. And we can share the results. And there's some great things here, isn't it? First, clubs, we want to retain players, we want to recruit players, so a high percentage of people think that. Integration with the local community, massive, but pretty much all across the board. And we got some other there that, all of the above, and some are great for getting new to rugby in the younger age groups. So really running something in the summer as well that people have got there. What else have we got in the chat? Just going to note things to integrate between all aspects of the club. Great. Thank you, Peter, for sharing that one. Liz was saying they're using it to introduce women to the game. A lot of off-season stuff, combining clubs together. So lots of good reasons for doing it. So I'm going to pass you back over to Carolyn for the presentation.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, that's really, really useful information, and it really helps in terms of how we can deliver tonight's session, just to make sure that we're really targeting those key areas and making sure that we can support you in what you're looking to do with the Touch Union. So moving on, so we have, as you can see, our new suite of logos and imagery, which have come out really well. Very excited about them. But moving on to what is the Touch Union? So a bit of a tagline here, but it's always great to say. So the Touch Union is the RFU's new non-contact format of the game. It's fun, fast-flowing, and social while still building on the core rugby union skills, perfect for any age or any playing ability, which I can see will really help with some of the things that were listed out in the chat in terms of younger people, etc. At the top of the screen, you can see that it's part of the non-contact section of the playing offer that we're looking to really highlight throughout the RFU, where you also would have modified contact, which would include, let's say, X rugby, or contact, which would be 7s or 15 aside. So now I have a short video outlining how to play the Touch Union. It also includes some examples of different ways that you can amend the game to really suit the needs, whether you're looking at using it for training or something else. You can see different ways in which you could apply it to your club that could be helpful. And again, any questions regarding stuff, just pop them in the chat and we can answer them as we go along or at the end, depending on what the question might be. If someone could shout if they can't hear it, but we're fairly confident that you can.
The Touch Union is here. A fast, fun and inclusive game that links closely to the core rugby union skills. Here's how to play. The Touch Union is a non-contact format of rugby. It's easy to play, and most importantly, it's easy to adapt to fit your participants and club's needs. As it's non-contact, it can be played as both mixed ages and mixed gender. We recommend that teams are made up of 6 aside, with a max of up to 10 aside, using a half pitch, or if playing with more than 6 players in a team, stretching to a max of 80 by 70 metres, plus the in-goal areas. If applying to age grade players, please use only up to the max pitch size permitted by age grade rugby. Fewer players and a bigger pitch will favour the attack, will develop evasion, passing, and will be easier to learn initially. This is non-contact, so there's no tackling. The ball carrier can be stopped by 2 different defenders touching on the armpit level or below. After a first touch tackle by a defender, the ball carrier can run or pass or kick, but they can't score. After a second touch tackle from a different defender, the ball carrier must stop, place the ball on the ground and pass to a support player. This pass can't be more than 2 meters. A simultaneous touch from 2 defenders still counts as 2 touches. Having 2 touches makes it easier for the attack and gives the ball carrier the confidence to go forwards. To make it more difficult, you can reduce to only 1 touch. After the second touch, the defending team must retreat 2 meters to get onside until the pass has been made, unless it is a penalty when it's 10 meters and the number of phases starts from 0. A penalty can be given for foul play, such as a touch above the armpit. All other offences, such as a forward pass or a knock-on, will be a turnover. In the touch union, the attacking team can kick, but kicks must be below head height. If the ball goes in touch, out of play, then the defending team restart with possession in line with where the ball crossed the touchline. Or if it goes dead, it is a restart for the defending team on the halfway line. An attacking team has 6 phases to score. If there's no score after 6 phases, it's a turnover. To adapt the game based on your participants' needs, you can add in an attack zone. This will increase the challenge for the attack. With the attack zone, the attacking team has 4 phases to enter into the attacking zone, and then 4 phases to score with. Kicking is only allowed in the attack zone. We look forward to welcoming you to the Touch Union. For a full set of rules and for more information, visit englandrugby.com/ways to play.
So just on that note, we've actually updated the website address there as well, which we can provide in a minute as well. It's just slightly different at the end there. But there you go. That's the basic outline on the ways in which you can play. And again, like we say, if you need to adjust it, whether it's for younger kids who are mixing with older kids, if you need to remove the grubber kick, these are all examples of ways which you can adapt it to ensure it's safe and suits everybody's needs.
The touch.
So continuing on with what is the touch union, here are some very basic but really pivotal things that are about the format. First of all, it is a format and it's not a program. So clubs can use the touch union however best suits their needs and their participants' needs. You'll hear that a lot because we really want people to know that they have the freedom to do that. There are currently no set structures or competitions, but we are always reviewing this and looking to see whether or not it would be needed and if people are asking for it as well. Again, just to highlight, it's all ages, all skill levels, and the rules are adjustable. Obviously, the all ages is subject to some regulations. So if you're looking at regulation 15.6.2, that will go through all the different things, including risk assessments and what needs to be done to make sure it's safe for everyone. Some other things to note about the touch union that are just things to highlight as examples is it offers the opportunity for a diverse participant range. Again, all genders and multi-generational can be on the pitch at the same time. You can use it in training, social, or competitive applications should you wish, flexible playing structure, and again, as we said before, the adaptation suggestions to focus on specific areas. So if it's attacking or defense or something else, you can adjust it to make it suit your needs. So moving on a bit to why offer the touch union. And I think there's many reasons why you should be offering the touch union, or it's great to offer the touch union. And again, hopefully we'll get into that a bit later when we speak to some of the clubs, but there's 3 that I'd really like to focus on in this particular session. The first one being reduced barriers to participation. Again, we've talked about age, gender, and skill. All these things being able to play on the same pitch really reduces any reason for people to not want to play, or let's say for the new players, stopping them from playing, or if you have a player who is in the kind of likely to lapse category, something an offer such as the touch union can really help keep them within the club and keep them playing the game for longer and not losing them out of rugby in general. Similar idea for the fear of injury. So we've found through lots of research and from, I believe it would probably be common knowledge, that a lot of people look at rugby and they think it's high impact contact. And for some new players that put them off possibly starting to try rugby. Obviously, this being non-contact reduces that fear that they're going to get hurt. We do find, and I think we'll hear later as well, I believe Simon in his statement shows that people who starting on in non-contacts do sometimes switch to the contact side of things. Again, it's that eliminating that fear that they're going to be hurt while playing, then they develop the love of rugby. It also works again for the lapsed or the likely to lapse players where, if they're maybe getting to the end of the career and they don't want to give up rugby, but they are getting to the point where they're a bit nervous about getting injured, maybe not being able to go to work on Monday, or even just the recovery time after a big game on Saturday or Sunday. Having a session where it's non-contact, but you still get to be involved in your club, you still get to play with your friends, and you're not lost to the rugby club entirely, is one of the great things about non-contact. And lastly, and I think this one's really prevalent right now, is the reduced time commitment for participants. We found that there's been a big prevalence of people coming back off from the pandemic, and they've allocated their time elsewhere. And this goes for all sports, including rugby. People, if you add up training and games and travel, it can add up to a lot of time. And some people do have that time, but other people are finding that it's a lot to ask, but they still want to play rugby. They just need an offer where it's a little less time commitment for them. And the touch union is great for that because, again, you can have a weekly session. We do have clubs that sometimes run up to 3 non-contact sessions a week. You get players who sometimes play twice a week, once a week, all 3 times a week. But again, it's up to them in terms of what commitment they can give, but at the same time, keeping them in the club, keeping them in rugby. Again, it's this idea of not losing them, even though they still want to play rugby, but they just can't commit to a lot more during the week if it's not there anymore. And lastly, just to note, and this is a biggie, but it's a goodie, is there is a movement towards increased provision of non-contact and modified contact rugby formats as part of the Club of the Future. These formats widen the participant funnel, bring more people into clubs, and open up possibilities for more volunteers with diverse sports and community experiences. And I think these are just great things that every club, deserves to have as well. So I just wanted to highlight that before we moved on. So last thing I'll say before we start handing over to the guests of the evening is the affiliation part of this. Now, I've mentioned before that you're more than welcome, and I see that lots of people are using non-contact with the Touch Union as part of training. But if you are choosing to run Touch Union's weekly sessions, you're eligible for an equipment pack, the contents which you can see up there on the screen. And it's really, really simple to do. So if you've agreed to run the weekly social sessions, we'll list your information on findrugby.com, and Alex is going to pop the link to do that in the chat right now. You'll get put on one of our dispatch lists where the next time we send out rounds of equipment, you'll get your equipment, all branded bibs. And then you run your sessions as best suits your needs again from then on. Again, it's up to you how you run them, but as long as it's working for you and we have your information on Find Rugby, you're off to the races. And if you're wondering what it looks like, you can see here on the left, we've got of a 30-mile radius of Twickenham Stadium, you can see the active Touch Union sessions. So if you're a player, you can go on and you'll be able to click and you get the details of it, whether it's a university session or a club session, the ages that are allowed, because some clubs allow families, some clubs don't allow families. That's up to you. You can put all this information in, people can search for it, and you're, again, getting your sessions and the club being promoted to a wider audience. So we're up to poll time again, Alex. If you could possibly launch the next poll.
Yep, so that should be with you now. So this is just a quick one poll. So when during the year are you currently looking to run Touch Union sessions? Is it all year round? Is it summer only? We saw quite a bit of that in the chat earlier on. Is it festivals and events, or we'll be using it during training? Which one are you going to select as sort of your main one that you're going to do? You might be doing all of those things, but so we've got one in here sort of saying spring in the chat. If you just make sure you set it to everyone so everyone can see what your responses are. But I can see those coming in. So when during the year are you currently looking to run Touch Union sessions? Yeah, they got quite a few Collins come in all year round, but starting in the summer, yeah, a lot more enticing to do it in the summer, Colin. So last bit of time before I just close this one off. But yeah, I can see a few more coming in. So I'm going to end that poll now. If summer, if popular, could extend. Yeah, I could test it and see how it goes through. Certainly at my own club, we run touch throughout the whole of the year, but we have November, December off. So it's an interesting way to do it. So I'll end that poll there and I'll share those results with you. But a hell of a lot are looking to do it all year round, and we've been backed up by summer only, and then a variety of others that we can start seeing coming through into the chat function there. So I'll stop sharing and hand you over to Carolyn to finish the presentation, and hand over to our guests from Bicester Rugby Football Club.
Brilliant. Yeah, and thank you. And that's really interesting. Again, summer only or all year round are both great options. We do find that lots of clubs do start in September, take a break in December and January for weather and holiday reasons, and then kick back again when everyone needs to kind of brush off the dust from the holidays. And then right up until July, when April to July really is that kind of summer of touch. So you tie in with all the summer events and festivals that are going on. And then August, everyone takes a break again. Everyone goes on holiday, just getting ready for the next start of, the next season. And really making sure that everyone, including our, the fabulous volunteers who run the sessions, get a bit of a break as well. Because as you've heard, a lot of these clubs are running, 32 plus weeks a year. So it's a really, really fantastic effort, and everyone deserves a chance to have a little relax. So just before I hand over to Bicester, we do have Simon on the call as one of our presenters. And Simon, I'm going to give you the choice here. If you would like to come off mute and maybe go on camera, up to you, just to talk through the statement that you sent through earlier about how you're using Touch Union at Tunbridge Wells, and what it's done for you as a club, before we hang it over to Bicester. And so, Simon, do you want to let me know if you'd like me to read through it or if you want to come and chat through?
Unfortunately, I've got quite a lot. We've got under 15s in the clubhouse here, so I might get interrupted a bit.
So possibly I'll read through it for you. Yeah. I think I just heard that the under 15s are there. So understandably a bit noisy in the background. So I won't read through this entire statement, but whilst it's on the screen, everyone is more than welcome to read through for themselves. And again, we'll be sending this out afterwards. So Tunbridge Wells was running our previous non-contact format or program, which was O2 Touch, but have since switched over to the Touch Union, and they wanted to keep people playing in a relaxed environment. They don't currently follow the guidelines, which is perfectly fine, and adapting to the rules to the players each week and implementing more rules as they progress, but still keeping it relaxed and enjoyable. They've got loads of players from different backgrounds playing at their sessions, including vets, social and ladies teams, youth coaches, parents, friends, you name it. And then after the session, everyone pops into the club bar afterwards for a bit of a social. They say that they've had 5 or 6 players coming back into rugby from it. They've got 2 to 3 new players coming to give it a go, and then moving on to a bit of social contact rugby. And then they've got ladies from their development team who are trying new things that they're learning in their training sessions on a pitch at speed and against other people. So really and then obviously just people looking to have a great runabout with their mates without irritating old injuries. And from all of this, they're saying that membership has improved, and they now have a Tuesday bar take that they didn't have before. So again, coming into those, club needs and things, adding a bit of membership, looking to recruit and retain old players, and also a little bit of a social bar take on Tuesday. And thank you, Simon, for the end. They're just saying you recommend the Touch Union. So given the noisiness at the end, if you've got messages or questions for Simon, maybe Simon can answer them in the chat as well, which might make things a bit easier. And without further ado, moving on to our other guest speaker, who is Granville, who's coming from Bicester. Now, again, unfortunately, Craig can't join us tonight, so we are just going to speak to Granville, who's going to just talk us through a little bit about, the Touch Union at Bicester and how it's going, and just a little bit around that. So, thank you, Granville.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. We were going to split our input because we've come at it from 2 different angles. I I'm a referee now, though I do still dabble, play a bit of vets. Got a game next week, so I haven't totally lost it. And through the lockdown, the restrictions, and when Ready for Rugby was invented, I was fully on board with that. I would turn up down rugby training, and it was rolling back the years, running around and playing that format, and also the opportunities to referee that format through the various restrictions. So I was all for Ready for Rugby, and the style that it is, which is more akin to rugby union, having played many years ago O2 touch, a previous club, for 2 or 3 seasons. Enjoyable on that social front, but like Simon's mentioned, when it all gets a bit top end serious, it sort of goes away from the feel of the rugby union and what you try to get. So Ready for Rugby was great, and obviously this is development from that, the touch union. So as soon as I knew that was on board and available at the club, I turned up to fully support that, because I've always advocated Ready for Rugby before. Craig, he was the one that had sorted out the O2 touch before the transition at the club. And that was on grass in the summer. We had 2 games running, and there was a mixture of players, much the same ways as Simon's described, from seniors to vets, parents, teenagers, that. Then when it came to winter, the nights closing in, the fact that there was no floodlights around the grassed area, and also inclement weather, luckily an opportunity arose in order to get onto a 3G pitch. And basically, whether it's through managing to officially get the slot or just by sly wheeler dealer we've managed to keep regularly going throughout the whole of winter on a quarter pitch width. So 8 to 10 aside within that, and the full width of the pitch is a good hour session of running around high octane. So we've kept that going. The regular seniors, they've obviously gone and they're doing their full contact sessions other times of the week and concentrating on that. So the beauty of being able to sustain throughout the winter on a dry surface is that we've been able to bring in a membership which is not typically the rugby players. There are people who are former, O2 touch players. 2 of the females that have recruited are the PE teachers that I've been engaging with to do the school outreach in order to encourage more girls and youth players to the club. And because I was using Ready for Rugby as the vehicle to experience rugby within the school as a non-contact safe version to take to the school, I sold it to them. Well, why don't you have a go yourself? Then you're there already selling it to your pupils. And so we've now got 2 of the teachers as regular members through doing that school outreach using that vehicle. And the intention is we were going to do it until the restrictions cancelled it all, but to use Ready for Rugby as a format within our community engagement at there's Armed Forces Day, an opportunity to have a stand and a playing area to engage with the community. So so that's how the club started on the grass, how the club continues on throughout the year. I think we've only had 1 session off at Christmas, and even on Valentine's Day, there were some people available and actually played on Valentine's Day. I did only drop the kit off and went back to do my duty. I'm just going through my list about what else was most pertinent. Yeah, I think that, specifically, we stuck to over 18s and it was started to sort of avoid that risk assessment side of things. And obviously, you have an hour's run around and we go straight up the bar. So it's much easier with over 18s. But this last session on Monday during half term, on the pitch we're about to use on the 3G, we discovered this group of teenagers just sat there. And I thought, well, are you waiting for us And it turned out one of them was from the under-15s that I'd helped coach on just the day before on the Sunday, and he was there with his mates. So I said, well, if you've got nothing to do, you can join in with us if you wish. And so they joined in the session. And to be fair, they were better than we were. So so speaking to Craig, we are going to look to use the ethos of Touch Union to make it a bit more expansive and include some younger age groups when we expand onto the grass, because we should be able to manage 2 or 3 different games on the grass pitch. And now that it's not just Craig who is running the club, he was like, it's a one-man show organising it. I'm now his backup man, and we can get somebody else on board. So we should be able to manage more games. And the thing that Carolyn's spotted as well is, along with quite a few clubs, we've been quite regular on the social media to try and show that vibrancy of what we've got and to attract new members. We use the still photography. What I want to graduate onto is what the women's team have been using quite a lot, is to do little video spots as well. And if I can just get to that stage and coax a few of those women players across, that will help sort of swell the coppers of the club as well. But we are definitely doing it from the ethos of fun, participation. There's no scores added up. It's all about creating magic and cheering and applauding it when it happens. And especially when one of the old lads does some special bit of skill, they're patted on the back and told you've still got it. And yeah, it has helped that additional membership of the club, which obviously on a financial front is all good.
Brilliant, thank you. I'll just attempt to get my video back on. Give me one sec. And while I do that, that was really, really great. Thank you so much. It's really great to hear the different ways that people are using the Touch Union. And again, it really does come down to what will best suit your needs. Like Granville said, they're not, at first they weren't letting, under 18s in, whereas we have other clubs who use it as a family option, and they do the risk assessments for it. So it's really great to hear that it is being applied in the way that we were hoping to really, again, I've said it before, kind of widen those funnels and really open up the opportunity for participation, again, not from just new players, but from the lapsed players, potential to lapsed players and other people within the club, and just keeping people in that rugby club, rugby community, giving them the outlet to play and just a different way to play if they need it, and even if it's an addition to their 15-a-side or other formats that they're playing. So I'm just going to open it up to questions. What I'm going to first do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to ask Alex to let me know if there's been any kind of questions that maybe have come through a couple times, or just if there's something specific that we need to answer or anything like that that's come through. Alex, anything on that front?
Yeah, just a couple of areas for clarification. One was what age can you start Touch Union at youth?
So we've had players, again, it kind of all comes down to the level of risk assessment that you're willing to do. The youngest that we've had that I've heard of and that I've seen, I've actually been asked to kind of go through someone's risk assessment to make sure it was appropriate, was looking at having players aged as young as 6. Again, that's entirely up to the club. I would suggest that with ages that young, it would not be mixed ages, but again, that would need to be assessed regularly. So I would say 6 is the youngest if you're looking at doing a youth event, and then it can go forward. But again, appropriate safeguarding and risk assessments. I can't stress that enough to make sure that if you are doing a family day, that you have amended the rules as much as you need to. No kicking, take it down to 1 touch or whatever you need to do to make sure it's safe and an enjoyable experience for everyone on the pitch.
And linked to that as well, Carolyn, what age grades can mix?
That's a very good question. My assumption has always been that because it's non-contact, any age grade can mix. However, I will check on that and confirm and send it out in the follow-up email just to be sure that what I'm saying is correct. I believe, again, that regulation 15.6.2 does state, and then again in the safeguarding, I think it's 10 and 5, does state that you're more than welcome to mix adults and genders and youths as long as it's a non-contact, social, non-competitive offer. But please allow me to check into that to make sure that I am not misreading the regulations.
Okay, so we'll include that in the follow-up afterwards next week. Another one in there around, is there any plans for us to offer referee courses and coaching courses around this one?
So this is part of the ongoing review of it. As it stands, because there's no structures or competitions in it, we largely go on self-refereeing and self-coaching. But again, as it's in its infancy and we're reviewing it, looking at the possibility of further structure, that will be coming into play as well in terms of review. As of right now, it's not included, but it may be included in the future.
And it's really starting to come through now, the questions. So this one, Karen, if I can come to you, but then also if I can get Granville's opinion of what it's been like at his club, because I'm not too sure there is any stats on it, whether that's the case. So there's a question here is, are there any stats of how touch union players have transferred to full contact? So Karen, is there any stats on that? And then it'd be good to get Granville's opinion whether that's happened at Bicester.
So I don't have any specific stats on it, but what I do find is the term I've used before is it seems to be a happy byproduct. We've had teams out near Newcastle who've had entire teams of female players decide that they want to play contact from their non-contact experience. The only thing I will say on this as well is to tread lightly on the subject of contact, non-contact to contact, because we have found, and I see Granville's nodding, so I know that I'm in good company here, that scares players away quite quickly if there is even believed to be an assumption that people will be on a conveyor belt towards contact. So the term that I like to use, and maybe I sound like a broken record, is that I believe that non-contact, the touch union, should be both a journey and a destination, but it's completely up to the participant as to which it is for them, and that may change as they go along. But back to the specific question, I don't have any specific stats on it because we've always seen it as a happy byproduct as opposed to something we're actively trying to happen from non-contact. Granville?
Yeah, I always see it as an engagement and retention tool. And once people are infected by the joy of it, if they think they want to do a little bit more and go to a contact session, then they will. One lad turned up the other day, he's just turned 18. I used to work with his dad, and he says, "Oh, he fancies coming down." Great, come down. One session, you could see him visibly accelerate as he stepped forward. He was that, he was that quick. And somebody tapped him up to join the Colts for the following week. And he, oh, yeah, oh, I do, yeah. Because he wasn't affiliated to a club at the time. So the opportunity is there because you're in that atmosphere. And so long as your club atmosphere is joyous, well then, yeah, there's going to be more of an inclination to maybe step into one of the other formats that your club offers. So that's the way we see it. This touch union is it's a non-pressure, do it for the joy, Monday night runabout.
Thanks very much. And if I can add sort of a bit of my own experience, we've just started we've had a touch rugby ladies section for some time at the club for over sort of 10 years. And we've just started a contact female session, and 6 have actually gone to the contact session to give it a go. They might not stick with it, but they've certainly, we've only just started that up with the contact female side, and 6 have decided to go along and try it. Carolyn, is there any cost in affiliating to the touch union?
That's the best part. There's absolutely no cost. So again, affiliation is a very light way of saying, if you let us know when you're running your sessions, we can get you a kit pack and then you're off the races. And no, that's absolutely free of charge. That is supported by us.
And this will be included, I believe, in some of the follow-up stuff. Is there marketing material available that can be customized? Social media?
Yep. Yeah, as we briefly touched on at the beginning, in the follow-up email, we'll be sending out the club guide, the brand guidelines, the rules, the logos, everything that you would need to market out the Touch Union within the within the club guide, I believe it is, no, the brand guides, one of the two. There is editable PDFs, social media copy, social media images, pretty much anything you could want in terms of marketing it for your club, then it will be in there for you.
Yeah. And there is a question in here that a person currently plays and coaches at a club, but want to start their own sort of touch team. And is there any support for that now? You know, Arlene, is it worth us just talking about our club developer network? That might be worth a conversation there.
Yeah, so maybe Granville can jump in on this as well, but we do actually have a Facebook group for Touch Union administrators. So basically, instead of it being for the players, it's solely for those who deliver, such as Granville, who's on there. And on there, you can ask for questions, see if anyone else wants a fixture near you. Often we'll see people asking for great warm-up games or how people run their sessions. Mostly it's a lot of squad shots at the end, which are always fantastic, but you do get to see the kind of vibrant community that is in the Touch Union and non-contact worlds. Granville, if you wanted to add anything to that, but there is definitely support there.
Yeah, you see those shout outs on the group saying, you know, anybody fancy a game? And I think some people have organised that. But we at Bicester haven't got to that stage of travelling to other clubs of a similar nature. I know that up the road in one direction, we've got a club that are England affiliated through Federation of International Touch. So they've been very resistant to go away from O2. In fact, I refereed a game at the club. There was three games at home, and I was refereeing one of the games. And before the game started, there was a touch game. There's a bit of a display, and I did think there's a chicken scratch there. Why are they playing O2 Touch when it's Touch Union? They're England affiliated. They're never going to let it go. Then you go in the other direction to another club and they play adult tag rugby. So they've got a non-contact offer, but they're doing something totally different down there. And there's various places to do walking rugby. So there's different things. And like you've got here, there are a number of clubs that are not yet got something on offer. When everybody's got something, I think the opportunities for going to other clubs to have a game just for the laugh should be there. But at the minute we're looking forward to having kept the momentum going throughout the winter, that hopefully we should be able to have, you know, intra games available in the summer.
Thanks very much. And there's a question here about GMS, which is our game management system. Do Touch Union players need to record it on the game management system?
Nope. Currently, GMS is not set up to it. We haven't aligned ourselves with GMS as it stands. This is also in review. What I'm wary to do regarding the GMS system is align to it before it is fully suitable for our non-contact participants. So until the review is complete, and I'm confident that it is fit for purpose for the Touch Union's needs, we're not asking for anyone to do anything with GMS for non-contact currently. Go ahead, Granville.
In our club, for practically all, for all purchases now, even for the VP lunch before a game on a Saturday, that they've got the functionality now on the GMS that you pay through there. So, so all the Touch membership, so that they've all been playing it since the summer. And then it got brought up in a meeting the other day. Nobody's paid. So I did a bit of, because everybody had fallen in love with it and they're going to stick with it regardless, explain to them, oh, we have got paid this now. And I'll also go to the next committee meeting to make sure that this is the price that it stays at for next season. Is everybody happy? It works out like £1 a week, for each session to hire the 3G for that one session a week. Everybody's quite happy. Log on to the GMS, press it, pay it, done. So it is feasible. It can be done.
So that's a good way of thinking about it. about how they pay for it as a mechanism there. Thank you, Granville. There's got one here around the insurance cover for touch sessions. Now I have put our link in to the England Rugby insurance details there. Carolyn, you got anything to add? Or do you want me to chat about it?
You can chat about it if you like. I think I'm always wary to elaborate on insurance when it's always best to head straight to the link that's been provided, just that you're seeing, because there are different ways, again, even as we discussed it today, because it is flexible, there are different setups that happen that it is all outlined on the insurance page. So I'm always wary of going off piece on that one in case I give misinformation. So please do make sure you follow the link. Alex, if you want to expand on it, that would be great.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, if you've got any insurance queries, it's best to get it from the horse's mouth, so you get the answer from Howden, our insurance brokers there. So I've put the details in there. You know, touch sections, though, sessions exactly like your other sessions that you put on will be covered. You know, for the club that is running there. So, but go and have a look. Don't take our word for it. You know, get the details. It's all in that link there. And if you've got any queries, always best to get insurance queries answered by the people who are insuring you, because they can definitely say, yes, you are, or no, you're not. I'll have a look if there's anything else in there. There's some stuff in here around walking rugby. Is there any affiliations of that?
So we do have many walking rugby clubs who offer walking rugby as a non-contact format. Again, part of the playing offer. It's not our endorsed or promoted non-contact. However, it does happen. We do encourage it, but we don't currently have any. We're in the process of working with the walking rugby community in terms of creating, I suppose, a database or similar to the Facebook group, a place in which you can find all the different clubs who are playing it. Right now, it doesn't exist, as it's still in its infancy in terms of coming together as more of a, I suppose, a community in terms of finding out who can play and where we can list them in terms of how you can find it yourself.
Thank you. And then there's just here, just people just clarifying around the RFU number, which is pretty much linked with the game management system, So just to be clear, players, do they need to be registered with an RFU ID number to play? That
is a club case by case. We do not demand it as an RFU central. However, as you've heard from Granville, they use it for payment process. So for their particular situation, you would require a membership number, but from the RFU, we are not requiring it as of yet. Yeah, so the player does not need to be on there to play touch union, just to clarify that. I'm just going to scroll through to see if there's anything else that I've missed from people's questions that have come in. Have we got what sort of details do we have? There's one around, are there any touch union formats available in PDF format? What sort of details do we have to share, Caroline, afterwards? Yep. So afterwards, again, you'll be getting the club resource guide, which will be going through all different things about, who the target audiences are, how you can reach them, how you can speak to them. Again, also with the brand guidelines, these are all in PDF format. Again, the rules are in PDF format as well. The logos obviously aren't PDF format, but they'll all be coming out as well. So hopefully everything you should need regarding the touch union will be in a follow-up, including this presentation in PDF format as well. Excellent. I hope that's one of the answers you were looking for. Yeah, that's good. And so there'll be, everyone who's registered for this webinar will get that follow-up with the presentation, a link to the webinar on RFU Club Support YouTube channel, as well as these extra assets and resources to use for yourselves. And Chinna are sort of speaking that, their players, what they want to do is they want to stick with O2 rules. Is that okay for the touch union? Yeah, absolutely. So as we said before, that we're keeping it flexible, and we want you to do what suits your club and your players' needs. So I don't mind saying it again. Again, if you clearly said here, your players want to do it this way. I know, Chinna, you have a very large touch community there. And if that's what your players want and that's what suits your club's needs best, go for it. Obviously, what we've got with the touch union links more closely to rugby union skills. So there will be clubs out there who want to, as Grenville's nodding, and it has worked for Bicester, you've got the clubs that want to use it in training or use it to look to convert people to contact rugby. So it would be a different scenario in terms of what they need and what their participants are looking for as well. So yeah, absolutely. If you feel that's what's best for your club and your participants, go for it.
Excellent. And I think those are all the questions that have come through this evening. Caroline, is there anything else or anything from you, Granville, that you'd like to say of anything that you've thought there?
I suppose the only other things are, if you do have any other questions, I haven't linked to it yet. We do have an email account. It's thetouchunion@rfu.com. We also have a social media account, which you guessed it, is @thetouchunion. That's for both Twitter and social media. And anything you do, if you want to hashtag, you guessed it, thetouchunion. Our social media manager loves sharing clubs photos, club sessions, anything that's going on. I know Bister have been up there a couple times. So another great way that you can promote your club, and just jumping off other platforms, really highlighting that you guys are, have these opportunities for people to play. And I'm always around. I'm always available. If you have any questions, please feel free. Just hit me up with an email. I'm more than happy to answer or help any way I can. That's it for me, Alex.
Okay, we'll finish the webinar there. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you found it useful, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Granville. Thank you so much for your time tonight. And thank you, Simon, for your time as well.